Well, before I pound the gavel, I just want to welcome all of you to the February 11th, the first council meeting of February, and welcome you all here. We have media present from the Timberjay, Jody, and Marshall. You're welcome. Tony hasn't given me his job description yet, but he is the writer and contributes to Tower News, letter to the editor, or I'll let Tony describe that himself. But anyway, welcome, Tony. And I want to introduce Andy Peterson, our city attorney. Very good to have you here. Thank you very much. And welcome the crowd that's here to follow the proceedings tonight. We are going to have a closed meeting tonight for a period of time, and during that time you can mill around outside here. The office is off limits, but otherwise find a place. I'm not quite sure how long that meeting will go, but we'll get to it as quickly as possible. And then just to let everyone know that we are being videotaped. There's tape right up, there's a machine right up on the bookcase up there. And then Tony, you have your iPad going with recording?
It is.
Okay. So everyone speak loudly so that the recordings can hear us, and smile if you're on camera. With that, meeting will come to order. And oh, I forgot to, Eric, did I mention you? Welcome, Eric. Eric is representing Linda. He's with the Teamsters Union. Welcome again. And as I said before, there is a chair that someone can pass over to you if you'd like. Also for our police. We're good? All right. Okay, so call to order and roll call.
Anderson, I don't know where Councilor Anderson is. Present. Abrahamson.
Good.
Councilor Fitton called and he was probably not going to make it.
Okay.
And pretty good.
And I'm here. So we do have a quorum, but I hate to have such a small quorum. but we need to move on as long as we do have a quorum. So we'll begin the meeting and start with asking if there's any changes to the agenda, or if there's a motion to accept the agenda.
There are two changes that I noted on here now.
Okay, 8.3 is lined out, and 9.1A is lined out. I would like to add under old business, no, I guess it is a reorg, because we have a couple of changes and one resignation, which we'll discuss when the time comes. So is there a motion to accept the agenda?
Which page of the reorg did you want?
One would be TITA. We have a resignation already. And the other one is sorry, I'll go through it when I get there.
Well, obviously the page is ready. Which one was the other one?
Bear with me. Planning and zoning, there's an open position, and
there's no openings on planning and zoning.
yeah, actually there is. There is, and I'll refer to that when we get to the reorg for that item. And those are the two. So, and like I say, I would have preferred to have the a full meeting contingent here tonight, but so be it. So, is there a motion to accept the agenda?
Move to accept.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion? Motion is accepted. We move on to number 3, employee misconduct allegations. Linda, do you want to?
That is actually Kevin, well, I guess kind of his deal, not mine. I did talk with him briefly about it. He did say that he would like to step out of it a little bit. And in the course of his investigation, the best thing that he found was lead HR consultant, and he thought the matter should be turned over to her. Her name is Pamela Whitmore, and she's from the league, and I think Andy has familiarity with her as well.
I've heard the name.
He thought that turning it over to her would be the best.
Okay. Has the, it says the employee misconduct allegations. Is the allegation from an employee? Or is it about an employee?
I don't want to say anything that's not my, this isn't my item. I don't want to compromise anything. I don't know what Ms. Whitmore would advise or not advise. I really don't. I don't want to say anything. I'm not a part of this. I am not a part of this.
But Linda, we're not going to pressure you. You
Passing a message.
understand totally.
Who are you talking about?
Her name is Pamela Whitmore. She's a lead HR consultant. And I think this is the kind of thing that
She's with the League of Minnesota Cities.
Yeah. And I haven't ever spoken to her, but I've heard of her. I understand that she's very knowledgeable and so has the individual to whom the allegation is try not to use the word targeting, but about has that individual been informed?
I don't know.
Okay.
This isn't my deal. It is not my
We're
deal.
not going to pressure Linda, but
One more time.
as our city attorney, can I prevail upon you to just make a statement on what the procedure is here? Does the individual need a 10-day notice?
Well, we have normally having the individual get notice, so
Uh-huh.
if there's an allegation against that person, so that person can be here and, and be able to talk about it and things like that. I don't know what else we can do other than possibly table or wait till we submit it and back.
Yeah, I think his request was for a motion to hire Ms. Whitmore to determine what is the correct course of action, what notices, what meetings, what notifications, what people have to take place, since it was such a unique situation.
I think we have to have a little more information on, what this is about in order for them to be able to make
Yeah, right,
a
I know
decision.
that I make a motion on something I don't really know.
And I suppose they could make a motion if they wanted to, but I think that we can know.
I guess I could. Pardon?
It'd be kind of blindly making motions.
Yeah, I just think-
So I wonder if it's best to table this until
I
Kevin
would
is
say that.
back. and
Do we make a motion
provide
to
us-
table it, or do we just table it until we get more information? I don't know.
Well, if there's a motion, I would strongly recommend that whether it's the person making the allegation or whether it's Ms. Whitmore, that the individual receive a letter with whatever the investigation is going to be about, so that individual can be
I
prepared.
think that was Kevin's point, that he doesn't even know if that is a proper procedure, and that's why he was letting out, to reach out to Ms. Whitmore.
Okay.
So where to even begin? I think that's part of his issue,
Okay.
that he understands, even though with a little bit of data that he does have, he's at a loss of where to go properly from here.
And so do you know if the city's consulted with Ms. Whitmore or somebody like her before?
Not since, do you know if we ever had it before me?
I don't recall doing that. I mean, I know who she is, but I probably spoken with her on the phone, but I don't know that we.
Yeah, I know we reached out to her for like opinions or something, but I don't know if we've ever had her.
And so my next questions are, what kind of costs are entailed and
Usually,
consulting?
I guess I don't know.
I think the league is gratis.
It might, I don't know if she would, normally she's free of charge. And she does a lot of things, where she'll meet with councils and facilitate different things, and she's in human resources and different things like that. She'll put on different clinics. Now, I don't know if she's doing something independent as far as investigation and things like that. There's a charge, but there may not be. I mean, mostly everything with the league is free of charge.
Well, it would have been wonderful to know whether this is an allegation against an employee, someone on the council, someone in the office, whatever it might be, and be able to move on. I'm troubled a little bit by the fact that there's been an allegation. This was a closed meeting, and then it was tabled. And now it's an open meeting, apparently, with employee misconduct allegations. But it's sort of hamstringing all of us, not knowing what we're dealing with here. And I'm a little troubled that the person who is bringing the allegations to the council knows so little about it. So it has to be coming from someplace, and I would think that wherever it's coming from, that it would be an individual, and that individual would be able to be more specific and at least be able to put this into a letter and have the individual informed. If that can't be done, I would say that it's a dead issue. Now, if you want to make a motion to table it, or make a motion to well, whatever, have Whitmore contact us. I'd be fine with calling the league and talking to Ms. Whitmore if that will move this thing along. But I will not have this council hamstrung while an issue like this is hanging over our heads. We just can't do that.
President, you, Andy. What, my own self, I feel like I don't know enough to make a vote on a motion, but what information would be legitimate for us to ask for? Who it's about, what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, who is the individual and what is it about? Those allegations, so that, certainly that person got the right to come, and then depending on who that person is, I mean, it may be a closed meeting, it may be an open meeting. We have to find out a little bit more about, what is the allegation against, and then certainly once that's, and then I can discuss it open or closed.
Right.
And then I think the council, the body can make a decision. Is this a valid claim? Do you want to investigate further, or decide how you want to approach? You want to call Ms. Whitmore, or whatever the council decides, they can proceed forward.
So it seems the person who has the most information about this is Kevin, who's unfortunately not here tonight. And my thought is maybe court's tabling, see what we can drug on a bit. But because we lack his presence and input immediately, we may need to delay again.
Is that a motion?
Yes, move to table item number 3 on the agenda until our next meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to say nay, but it passes. I'm sorry, Mr. Scoob, you had your hand up?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, Brooke. Welcome. Okay, so number 3 is tabled, and now we're going to a closed session. And so you need to not only turn your recorders off, but you need to remove them from the room, and you'll need to mill around outside. Or outside your office.
Before you do that,
We have to know
have
now.
to make a statement while you're closing the meeting.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I guess what I
Please be
recommend,
seated again, I'm sorry.
I guess what I recommend you say is that you just say, I move to close the meeting pursuant to Minnesota statute 13B105, subdivision 3, to evaluate the performance of the city clerk, and that's, and then we can.
Okay.
So I need you to do that. I can't, it's got to be somebody from the council that makes that.
Okay. Well, I'll be glad to do it. I'd like to have you here for every meeting.
This is recorded too.
Yeah, it'll be recorded once we begin. So number 4, we're make a motion that we close the meeting pursuant to statute 13D.05, employee performance evaluation, and I'm looking for support.
I think you need to identify the individual.
We're doing an employee evaluation of Libby Keith, clerk treasurer.
I'll support that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. So I hope there's room for all of you out there, otherwise I know there's room down in the Urix, but watch yourself.
What firm? Coleman Peterson. Oh, nice.
And Eric, can I call you Eric?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll be a little informal. If you want to grab a chair and move up here.
just go out there. Put your hat over there.
Come on in.
We'll let you. Actually, I'm gonna go a couple minutes, so. What's it? I can go a couple
This is for the reorg that we put on for tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's you and the planning and pages.
Okay, I'm going to recommend, calling the meeting in order again at 7:56, okay? 6:56, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have just completed a closed council meeting. Regarding that meeting, is there a motion?
We would have to set a new meeting for a new closed meeting because it was classified wrong.
Is that a motion?
We don't really need a motion per se, we just have to put it on the agenda and schedule for it.
Didn't we discuss that there would need to be a motion to have another closed meeting?
I don't know if it needs to be a motion, they can be put on the agenda in the next meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I think what has to go, at the next regular meeting, you have to summarize the conclusions or, from the performance evaluation, not necessarily tonight, but at the next meeting.
Okay, then we are at number three. Number three, employee misconduct allegations was tabled because two council members weren't here. We're going to reopen that, and Kevin, I turn that over to you. I understand that you're going to make a motion or discuss that issue?
I'm going to recommend something to the council and I'll present it as a motion at the end of it. Without going into a lot of detail, this was an item that was that was going to be listed as a closed meeting item for a couple of meetings now. And it kind of got kicked down the road because of various other questions and things that kind of went back and forth. Really, it was kind of just needing to brief the council on an issue that's going on and to get the council to authorize a process for addressing it. And because no one councilor alone can order that on their own. The base of this is that we have an official complaint from a city staff member about a member of the city council. And so really especially with it involving a city council member, we don't want anyone here to be that investigator. Really the only reason it got dropped into my lap was because I'm on employee relations. And so it kind of got handed to me because of who it's involving. So really, what I was going to inform the different council members about was the fact that there is this complaint. It does need to be looked into. There is grounds for it, but that's what the investigator needs to investigate farther, come back with a series of recommendations on actions to take, and so on. So the motion I would be putting forward is for the city council to authorize an independent investigator to look into the complaint and the allegations that are with it. I do know that there is an HR expert through the League of Cities that would probably be a good candidate for this. I believe, Chris, is that what you would be recommending? Is
Well, I guess, and then again, going back to this, normally we need to know who is this person, in order for the council to make that recommendation. And, normally, I guess it's my thought is that somebody on the council or the mayor is not what we call subject to the public bodies authority. So I'm not sure there's a basis to close this meeting. I guess that kind of be my opinion, but I think that person, whoever this person is, has to have some kind of, like I would say, due process, or needs to know who this is again, who these allegations are against, and what they are. Then as the council, because they may decide to investigate, may decide to do nothing, or
well,
it'd be up to them.
and that's the difficulty of it, because I was looking into this, and normally you would issue a letter to that person informing them that there are complaints and this and that.
Mhm.
But I couldn't find anything in there that says that any one single council member is authorized to do that, that it would have to be an action of the council.
I think that's true.
So I'm kind of stuck in a position here of how you inform the council member that there's an issue that's about a council member, and that's where I kind of got stuck into trying to look into figuring out the best way to try and approach this part. And that's why we were contacting your office to get clarification on how to do this. And we never really got, what we got was a recommendation to hold a closed meeting. Well, we tried that 2 times in a row, and it kept getting kicked down the road because I couldn't get to the point of a closed meeting to explain it to the other councilors what the issue is. So it finally came to this meeting where, what had to end up happening is at the end of the last meeting, I talked to the person just briefly about what it was about, and then somewhere between there and here, I don't know exactly where, it was put on as a public item, as opposed to a closed meeting item. And that's what brings us to this moment right
I
now.
think it has to be open. I think originally it was set as a closed meeting, but I think, Linda, we talked, right, Linda, and I indicated to you that was my opinion, it had to be open. And there's an advisory opinion from that indicates, whether or not a council person is really subject to the discipline of the authority. And it really, I don't know if there's a lot that the council can do. Certainly they can try to censure, they can do different things. But, so again, it was my opinion that it had to be public. And I think we talked about that. And so I think, whatever this allegation, whoever this is against, it needs to be brought up now. Who is this person and what is it? And then the council can decide, do they want to do an investigation? And if so, great.
Okay. So if that's the case, I'm basically going to rehash what I told you before the meeting. The complaint is from a city staffer. It is from the ambulance director / fire chief regarding actions taken by the mayor or the Kringstaff. It's things that were said to 2 council members here just before taking office, and basically a whole variety of things, but already voicing opinions on wanting to get rid of the ambulance director and fire chief, and which is the same person, and who also happens to be his opponent in the mayoral election. So this brings all sorts of issues that, as a single council member, we can't dive into individually, nor am I really authorized to do that on my own. Basically, I'm holding what information I had to at least establish at least the bare minimum to bring it to the council for information. And that's what I've been holding on to for about month and a half, roughly. So considering the fact that it's about a council member, and we have a variety of other interrelated issues that aren't part of the complaint, but are also kind of part of it, because of some actions that have been taken in this, the time since the mayor has been seated in office, which has only been a short period of time, that really needs to be cleared up by a legal authority of some kind. Someone that can very clearly say, yes, this is how things are supposed to be done. No, this is not how things are supposed to be done. Because there are a variety of different issues that have come up. obviously the thing that has to be addressed is the official complaint itself, but we also have all these other issues that are also going on as well, which, you know, we just spent all the time in a closed meeting, which is, you know, yet another example of how this is kind of all interrelated. So in order to clear things up and to somehow move forward as a council as a whole, as opposed to the constant division of, you know, what's going on and this and that, and what's legal and what's not legal and all of that, really it needs to be put to rest. And the only way that that's going to be possible is with an independent investigator to look into all of the things and basically come back with a, here's what our recommendations are, here's what is appropriate, here's what is not appropriate. But I'm not a legal authority, so for me to spend that kind of time digging into something that deep is really beyond my scope. So.
Question, something that somebody said before they were counselor. What weight does that have on anything? Because I know other people say a lot of other things too before that time, and I almost think I don't see how it's even appropriate to be talking about that. If in fact he did what he did say, if that was before he wasn't even a council member.
Well,
I don't get that.
I'm paraphrasing some of this, I'm kind of shortening it down. There are some other things that go along with it too, it's not just that. But again, I don't want to try and get into a point by point in front of the whole council and in front of the whole public, when really somebody else who's a third party not related to this really should be looking into all of this.
Thoughts on that, Andy?
I mean, I guess it's up to the council. I mean, if you think you need more information, certainly I think it's appropriate to get it. If you think you have enough information to make a motion, and if you want to do something or you don't want to do something, and I think that's up to the council to decide on what I don't know.
Again, for me, that's why we tabled to begin with, was the lack of information.
Well, I don't know how much of this everybody wants to know, or if you want an investigator to look into it all and come back with
Well,
recommendations.
all I can say for me, it's really hard to make a motion on something I know very little about. That's all I'm saying. You know? So the more I know, the better. That makes me a better judge of being voting yes or no to that motion. That's all. You know, so
Do you have the actual official complaint?
Yeah, not right now.
Because the only thing I can think of would be to just read out the complaint.
Just so that everyone knows, there actually were two issues. There were going to be two closed meetings, both of them for one reason or another, were, to use a term that I just heard kicked down the road several times. They were done so together. The issue that we're talking about right now, number 3 on your agenda, it suddenly became an open meeting. And I think that was probably on the good advice of our good city attorney. You okay?
Yeah, just issues with this chair. This is probably one of the chairs that needs to go soon.
That's why I changed to 2 before you came. So if this complaint is going to be read, you know, I'm a little perplexed. It seems terribly fuzzy to me. If there was some concrete allegation, that's fine. But Kevin, you're talking about a number of things that have come up around this particular allegation, which I, for one, cannot quite imagine. I mean, I can't imagine what it was that may have been said.
Well, we can go through some point by point if you would really like to, but let me get to the complaint part here so that hopefully the council members have enough information. So this was what was submitted to City of Tower, Linda Keith, regarding the employee relations complaint from Steve Altenberg. It has come to my attention that shortly after the 2018 elections, the newly elected mayor, Orland Kringstad, solicited the 2 female council members for their support to fire me as a city employee. There was no just cause given for me to be fired, but he did tell them that I was sexist and should be fired for that. I have not spoken to either councilwoman about this matter, but this meeting was also revealed to Councilor Kevin Fitton from what sources unknown to me. Mr. Pittman confirmed with Councilwoman Anderson that the meeting had taken place at Mr. Kringstad's Main Street business and that the accusations and substance of the meeting were correct as reported to him. As such, I am filing this official complaint against Mayor Kringstad for his inappropriate actions and slanderous comments against my character. Further, I am requesting an official investigation in this matter as it would seem my protections and rights as a city employee are being threatened without cause or due process. Thank you, Steve Altenberg, Tower Fire Chief, Tower Ambulance Director. There are a variety of different issues related around this. It's not just this one thing, but this is kind of what opened the can of worms to a bunch of other things.
That's the specific thing we can only talk about there, right, Andy? That's the allegation.
I don't know what, that's an allegation, I don't know what the allegations are.
I'm not even, I'm confused by it, to be honest.
Well, here's the issue is, breaking it down is this was just before these three council members were seated. So you have a meeting between the mayor-elect, a council member-elect, and a current councilor, which had all three actually been seated at that point, actually would have been an open meeting violation because you would have had a quorum of the council at a meeting. Luckily, two members weren't seated yet, because otherwise, that would have been an issue. But it's more just a constant pattern of things that have been going on in terms of already pushing an agenda and thoughts and things that are related towards trying to drag through the last couple of years of things that people have been unhappy about and trying to find a reason to make cause of them. To see this kind of thing going on where the mayor approached the only two female members of the council and making a sexist claim against the fire chief ambulance director, if true, and that's essentially what was reported to me, if true, that's really disturbing. That's extremely disturbing, especially in this era. Jumping into a personnel issue before you're even seated also is a due process issue of sorts, because you're having this problem of now you're already meeting with other counselors trying to, put that thought in place before a council meeting, before any sort of actual process. That's very problematic. And so I think it should be taken seriously. It should be looked at seriously. But again, this goes way beyond just me as a single council member looking and investigating into. So that is the core of the issue. And that this keeps getting, kicked down the road time and time again. I don't understand why. To me, it seems awfully odd that we would want to clear these things up, and yet, I don't know, it disturbs me greatly. Is it how I would address things? No. But this is, at least on the city level, this is a little new to me as well. I do deal with HR issues and other stuff at my work, but this is a little bit different because there I have a clear established process of things. But here, it's not quite as clear. So that's why I was trying to find a way to at least brief the council to a degree so that someone else could be looking into this to clear all of these up. And that's where I'm at on it. So that would be the motion that I would put forward, is that we have an independent investigator look into this and come back with a report.
And Kevin, when you say to clear all of these up, are all of the issues that require clearing up outlined in this letter, or are there issues beyond that you're referencing that?
Well, there's the issue of what's directly in the complaint. There's that for sure.
Right.
I think during the course of this, we're also going to find a whole series of other things that are going to come up as well.
Because we need to ask the investigator or provide the specific concerns to the investigator when we do. And so how do we?
Well, we would start off with this official complaint to the investigator, and then as they do the course of their investigation, to outline all the issues that are coming up as part of it. Because there are going to be interrelated issues to this that are going to kind of, you know, and we saw some examples of that even tonight. So that's the thing is this is going to end up going on for months and years and forever how long unless we actually settle some of these things. And frankly, I don't really want to spend the next 2 years doing this every meeting.
Agreed.
Steve?
As a taxpayer, well, first, I'm bothered by the amount of innuendo being thrown around in this accusation. The constant, I mean, we're complaining that this was kicked down the road when you, Kevin, are the reason it was kicked down the road because you would not be forthright in bringing the information to council. That's one point. The innuendo you keep referring to, which is there are all sorts of other things surrounding this, and you're asking the council to act on your innuendo. And I don't know whether Orland said those things or not. If he did, they were said before he was a seated member. And I don't want my taxpayer dollars spent on some expensive investigation of something someone allegedly said before they were a council member, because there's not a council member here who didn't have some hidden agenda that they came to this council with. And so, to me, it sounds like a colossal waste of money. Thank you.
Well, some of the things that I'm trying not to talk about are some of the things that came up in the closed meeting, which is why I'm trying to be non-specific about some of these.
Well, that's a separate issue.
Yes and no. I mean, some of these are slightly unrelated.
Did it have to do with Steve Allender?
Yeah, a little bit.
Shut up.
Am I correct, we're now on public input?
We're not in public input yet. We're on number 3.
Number 3, an agenda item that you removed from this agenda.
And we went
Here,
back.
you didn't add it to the agenda. I'll tell you.
We did.
You're not even a citizen of Tower.
You don't know where I live, Mr. Hanson.
You don't live in
I
Tower.
think you should find your mind.
Find my mind.
The point I want to make is Mr. Wilson just said Alderman Fitton tried to throw this thing down the road. He is incorrect. He begged this council to hear this matter for the last 3 meetings. You guys need to start paying attention before you come to town running off your mouth. That'd be my suggestion.
The closed meetings were inappropriate, as our attorney has pointed out. So that,
Whatever that may be, Mr. Wilson, one, you should be out of order because you're not on public input. You're discussing the agenda item.
If you guys want to have an argument, go out and move on.
Shut up, Mr.
We're
Hanson,
not going to
before I
have
make a fool
that
out of
here.
you.
We already earlier brought up the issue of meeting decorum and the kind of language that's used. I'll bring it up again.
Is there some language I used that was
Well, I don't
inappropriate?
think that we need to have someone hollering, "Shut up."
Well, I don't need to have someone yelling in my ear from behind me, especially since the man is mindless. Mindless.
Do you have a motion on, Kevin?
Yes.
That,
The motion
can I
I would-
support that?
The motion I would put forward was that we need to have an investigator look into this issue and report back.
That's what I put down, engage an independent investigator and receive a report.
Support?
I just did.
Okay, discussion. First of all, many of you out there know me. And I have to say that the one allegation that I heard, first of all, I'll say that, yes, we did have a meeting at my office. I tried to meet as many people as I could before taking office. I'd never really had a chance to meet and talk with Brooke, and I thought it would be a very comfortable meeting having Brooke and Rachel, who I was just getting to know, come to the same meeting and just kind of discuss issues. The issue that was brought up by Mr. Fitton about my making a sexual innuendo or a remark I
It
just-
was that you accused the ambulance director of being sexist. That's to clarify.
Okay. It seems to me that that's a little out of character. That's myself,
I think that's how it
with a
went.
self-assessment. And I think that if there's going to be a letter, allegation, or something sent to a private investigator, whether it's at the League of Minnesota Cities or some other place, that the specific allegations need to be given to me at the same time.
There's a copy right there.
Okay, what about all the fuzz that goes around this?
That's for the investigator to look into. Because again, it's to sit there and document and go through every single thing, that's what they should be doing.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, in this vote, I recuse myself because it's about me. And so I will just simply ask all those in favor of the motion that was made and seconded by Kevin and Brooke, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Nay.
I'm choosing to abstain.
Okay, then the motion is carried. I do expect to receive all information that that is going to be sent to this private investigator to me and my attorney as well, and expect that to be carried out. Can I ask the city attorney, Andy, do you have any remarks?
And it's whatever the public, whatever the body wants to do, I mean,
Okay.
that's their choice, I think.
Okay. So on to the next item. I know.
Okay, I'm just making sure because we got that all over the board then.
Public input. No, I'm sorry, approved minutes of previous meeting.
Mayor, do you want me to stay for this part of it, or do you want me to do it? I'm happy to stay if that's what the council wants me to do. If there's anything else. It's up.
I don't really believe that there's anything else that's going to be on the agenda that we need to be here for.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, man.
So, have all of the counselors had time to read the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Well, we're gonna vote on the January 14th one for the old and not the
Okay, so we're going to do the,
We can make them separately.
Yeah,
we'll do them separately, so we're looking at the January 14th minutes. All in favor of approving the motion for approving the minutes for January 14th, please say aye. Nay, because I haven't had time to read them. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for January 28th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for January 20th.
Support?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose. I see this as the reorganization in your and that needs some serious review, so I'm going to say no.
Motion carried though.
Motion carried. Public input. And let me just say that for public input, we've had some public input that has gone like 40 minutes or whatever. I want to hold public input to 5 minutes unless there's some compelling reason to allow them to go longer. Marshall?
Yes. Thank you. I just wanted to make the council aware that the actions of some city officials are potentially putting the city in some legal jeopardy. For the past 3 months, certain city officials have taken it upon themselves to install a video camera in the council chambers for the purposes of engaging in defamation and character assassination. Since the installation of that camera, city officials have engaged in regular and clearly choreographed attacks on me and Mr. Kringstad. I've addressed some of these in previous comments to the council and have specifically cited what I firmly believe were defamatory comments made by city officials. The city has taken no action to address my concerns to date. Normally, a question of defamation in a council meeting would be an issue between the person making a defamatory claim and the person they're accusing. But when the city is filming and posting false and reckless comments on the city website, the city is effectively publishing defamation, which could lead the city party to a possible legal action. A good recent example of the kind of defamation I'm talking about can be found from last week's council meeting when Councilor Fitton falsely accused me of violating the state's Data Practices Act while I served as TIDA president in 2017. His exact quote was, "I know that he wasn't using the TIDA email address, which is he was using his personal email address instead, which is a violation of data practices." Now, the Data Practices Act is a state statute, and we're all supposed to comply with that. And so in accusing me of violating the state statute, he made a significant allegation against me. But as usual, Mr. Fitton had no idea what he was talking about. Here are the facts. I did use my business email as TIDA president, which is perfectly legal. Contrary to Mr. Fitton's claim, there is no statute whatsoever that prohibits public officials from using personal or business email. It happens all the time. Furthermore, there is no City of Tower policy that prohibits it, and the city clerk has previously stated to me in writing that I was free to use my personal email if I wanted to when I was serving as TIDA president. I will note that the current TIDA president and all of its current members use their personal emails for TIDA-related business. The deputy clerk routinely uses their personal emails to contact them for TIDA-related business. Mr. Fitton, of course, has never raised any concerns about their actions because he chooses to focus his attacks solely on me and Mr. Kringstad. The bottom line, of course, is that I acted perfectly legally, and yet you have a city official who, in a public meeting, with no evidence or basis, accuses me of violating state law. When he did so, he could very well be considered to have committed a civil tort, and he could be sued. And if the city publishes his comments, they could potentially become a party to it. I want to make it perfectly clear that I have no problem having wrongdoing revealed. If someone has evidence of violations of the law, they have an obligation to report it. But if they do so, they should at least know what they're talking about. Mr. Fitton unfortunately failed to do the slightest due diligence before making a serious allegation in a public setting with the knowledge that the city and media would likely disseminate his false attack. The rest of Mr. Fitton's rant at the last meeting was just as ridiculous. He falsely claimed that I had no right to due process before being removed from TIDA, which in fact I did and still do. And he suggested somehow that my termination was justified because I contacted the MPCA without his permission. I'm still mystified to comprehend how someone in Mr. Fitton's position could actually believe that I would need his permission or the permission of the council to contact the state agency in the course of my reporting. We still have a free press in this country. I think the council needs to address this issue and ask whether it wants the city to be complicit in what has been a sustained and clearly choreographed campaign of defamation that has been waged by Mr. Fitton and other city officials over the past few months. The fact that the council has essentially been roped into this campaign without having any discussion or consideration of the legal ramifications is troubling. I think the council needs to think this through rather than allow individuals without authority to make critical decisions that could create ongoing legal problems for the city. Thank you.
Any other public opinion? Okay, then we'll move to number 7. Do you want to give any kind of a summary so that that ends up in the minutes? Because typically public input does not end up in the minutes.
It should.
I feel the same way, and I'll explain why I feel that way. We are being recorded by 2 cameras, one up above, right above Dave there, and then Mr. Sikora has the other one. These videos find their way out on YouTube and to the city website, which I'm not sure has ever been approved by the council. When the minutes, and thankfully the minutes are up to date on the city website now, but when they're not, then we have 2 opposing records of our council meetings. One in YouTube that is very poor quality, and or on Facebook and very poor quality, and then we don't have minutes that are published on the website where they should be. And they should be on the website within 48 hours after being approved. And that's by council approval by previous council. And so therefore, I think that, and we'll go back to this when we get to administrative guidelines, that if the city is going to videotape the council meetings, then the city should have decent equipment and do a quality job of doing so, and post them. And I have no problem, if you go out on YouTube, you'll find any number of cities that have their council meetings recorded, but it's always by good equipment, and you can understand what the councilors and the people in the chambers are saying. When you don't have that, then you can have very misleading outcomes from people's take on what went on at the meeting. So I would say that if we can't stop anyone from putting on a recorder and recording proceedings here, but to put them out, especially on the city official website, I think is incorrect. This is my opinion, and but it will come up as a motion later. Thank you. We're going to move on to number 7, SDH engineer report. Jason,
Yeah, you have your report in your packets. Couple things I wanted to add to it. Item number 1, since the writing of my updates, the contractor did contact us requesting a meeting to discuss the outstanding items. Essentially pushing back that they will perform the repairs that we requested. So if looking for direction from the council on, we can set up a conference call if anyone wants to attend, if we want to entertain a meeting with the contractor. And then the other item of updates, item number 9, we talked that the schedule was to finish the demolition in March. The contractor contacted us on Friday saying that they anticipated coming back to work on completing the demo this week. So the only follow-up I have is whether we want to have a meeting with the contractor regarding the outstanding items. We are holding retainage on that project until that's resolved.
Okay. Any questions from the council for Jason?
Number 2C, plat for SCH with the harbor agreement. The previous council passed a deadline of a yes or no on construction by April 1st. Have they talked at all, has the developer said anything about meeting deadlines and starting time, and do we know if anything's moving forward from that? Because we haven't really heard much.
I haven't heard anything from Matt as of today. I think we're waiting on the, we got the comments from St. Louis County, was it a week ago, on the plat. And, but no, I haven't heard anything on the other side of the coin. But I can have if you want, I could have Matt reach out and talk to the developer to see what the timeline is.
I did just ask Matt to resend a copy of the CAD drawing that they will need to do their own CIC plan. I wasn't pushing it whether they had it or not, so I asked them to resend it just to make sure that they do.
Could you repeat what you said about, there was there comments from the county to the city?
It's right on the report. It says comments, SDH received comments from the city on 125 and addressing the comments.
Okay.
So that was a review of the plats. So they made some comments, we addressed their comments and resubmit.
Okay, so once approved, the developer will have to submit a CIC plat for the individual units. That was true back when I was still involved, although to point out I'm not anymore. Are there any answers to the county that they're waiting on either from the city or from SCH?
That's what we are addressing right now.
That's what you're addressing.
Yeah.
So does this mean that the developer, the Tower Harbor Shores developer, is still not able to submit a CIC plat?
Not until, according to this, once it is approved. So when the county receives our comments, they'll review them and approve the plats, and then you can proceed with the CIC.
It should be shelf ready, so the minute that we do get that go ahead, they're ready to go. Because they're on their own license, so they don't want to wait to start it until we're done. It should be ready to go.
I was hoping Michael Wood would be here tonight to be able to address that. I'm out of the loop, but for where I'm going to city hat, I want to see that project get underway as quickly as possible, along with all other development that makes sense. Okay, is that the conclusion of your report? Mm-hmm. Okay, I was thinking that I know there was a report that I saw maybe a month ago or so, and there were quite a number of different projects going on in Tower. And is there a master plan that SCH has?
On item number 10 of your report, we talk about the capital improvement plan. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
So that is was authorized a few months ago. It's a real basic plan, and the scope of that work is for us to do an overview of your water distribution system, your sanitary sewer system, and your street conditions. And so I've conducted the field review with the staff, and we'll be putting together a report of areas of priority and need of repair, and put that in capital improvement plan for the city. It's not overly detailed, but it is a basic plan for you guys to help roadmap and budget some of these basic improvements, such as I&I in your sewer systems, water lines or hydrants that may be issues and need replacement in the near future, and then conditions of road. There are several sections of road within town that need to be prioritized for replacement or improvement. That's all Main Street.
Would you be able to then come and address the council at a future meeting, hopefully the next meeting in February, and give a brief overview of the master plan so that the entire council can see?
When it's completed, yeah. I don't think we're going to be done until probably fall, because we did get our field work started until the beginning of February. So there is a little bit we can look at, but we could provide draft information here in the next probably March, and give you a little bit of an overview of what we found out so far, but it won't be finalized until spring.
No, I think we wanted us to look it over one more time before you.
Yeah, there will be a couple iterations before we final, but we would eventually present the final product to you for review, wait for comments before we finalize it.
I would like to see the council have an opportunity to look at the master plan and put our input into it so that our input goes in before it's finalized.
Yeah.
And so if that could be done, Linda, if this is something that's scheduled, when is the next staff review?
We don't know, it's not done yet. We just We're just getting into our processes here.
We just started like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, and just to be clear.
How far
it's-
into the future does the master plan go?
It's not a master plan, it's a capital improvement plan for just water. What we'll do is we'll lay out the priorities of each one of those utilities on good, fair, or poor condition. And then what we can do is we can assess them with a cost and then sit down with the city and go, here are your priorities. Do we want to look at repairing these priorities in a 2-year window, a 5-year window, a 10-year window based upon cost? But we're not, this isn't a master plan, it's just a capital improvement plan for your basic infrastructure.
Okay. What about building projects? Are those included?
No.
The harbor shores, any other kind of North Harbor, any other kind of plans? They don't appear on any master plans for the future?
If the council would like us to develop a master plan for something like that, we certainly can sit down and talk about that. But right now, all we are looking at is the condition of your existing sanitary sewer, existing water, and street conditions.
I think what we're getting at is having, and I think maybe the council has to do that first. I don't know, maybe we have a list of things that we want to prioritize, whether it's the water, sewer, development, blah, blah, blah. You know, do we have anything like that under?
The closest thing you would have is your comprehensive plan.
So maybe as a group, we could write down the things we'd like to see, you know, and then prioritize which ones we would want to go after, and obviously the water is one of them, so.
Yeah, I may have used the wrong term, comprehensive plan. If there's a comprehensive plan that is looking into the future, I think that that would be really good for us to see.
That actually should be updated too.
It just was.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah, right after you got off the council, I think.
Okay.
We did a joint one with writing.
Oh, okay.
It was required by the ITRIP.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay, we'll come back to that and look at or perhaps having a presentation done in March.
Yeah, once we have a better handle when we'll have it done, I'll let you know, I'll let Linda know, and we can, when we have the draft capital improvement plan together, we can put it on the agenda, we'll give you a short presentation, you'll get it ahead of time, you can look at it, and then we can solicit your feedback before anything would get accepted. It's a standard process.
Okay.
Well, I guess I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Birch Acres easement, what is that?
That was the easement for the 500 block of North Third. The church used to own the property behind that block, and they have recently sold it.
Oh, that's what they're going to call that Birch Acres, or? Because
For lack of a better name.
I've been here a long time, and I've been around the area, and I've never heard Birch Acres, so okay, that clarifies it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for SCH, for Jason? Okay. We move on then to the 7.2 ambulance director report.
Steve had to leave for another engagement, so I've got his report tonight. There's a copy in your packet. We started off January with 36 runs. I'm not sure what else you want to know. If you ask me questions, I'll try to answer.
No, I'm sorry that Steve had to leave because, well, in light of earlier discussions, this might not have been the best idea right now, but since becoming the new mayor of Tower, I had a chance to really review the fire facilities or the ambulance facilities, and I was hoping to schedule a time, maybe with another one of the counselors to have a tour of the fire equipment, the ambulance equipment, get a better idea of what we have to offer. I hear a lot about it in the reports and the charts and everything, but I think it's incumbent upon all of us to have a better sort of a feel for exactly what we have for both medical and ambulance service and fire. If you could pass that on to Steve, put it in the minutes. And if you'd like to give me that, perhaps one of the other councilors, I think if three of us go, then it's, we're having a meeting, so we should do that.
Do we vote?
We can go two at a time.
I'm very familiar with it, so I really don't need
Okay. You know, grateful you're on the ambulance commission, so perhaps that's something that you're interested in, we could do. Okay. Then I would like to, I don't know if it needs a motion or not, it's something I would think would be fairly informal, but just for the sake of order, I'd make a motion that we request a full review and tour of the fire and ambulance facilities so that we're updated. And let's schedule that together? Sure. Okay. And others, Kevin and Brooke, you've been on the council for some time, so you perhaps are more familiar with it, but...
I just dropped by when they were open. So,
Yeah.
especially when the weather's nicer, they have the doors open a lot of times, and I walk around town, and I just walk in, and, you know, so I've already seen everything. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. I think that it's appropriate for me to be a little bit more formal. So I'll put that out. By the way, Jason, I'm going to ask the same thing for the police, so I'd like to review your facilities. Okay, is that it for the ambulance director report?
Yes, well, you have a motion partially on the floor there, so you either need to...
Yeah, is there a support?
Or a second.
That's for a tour.
Oh,
Once again, I'm not sure if we really need to be that formal, but...
You don't need
Yeah, okay.
Are you rescinding your motion?
I'll rescind the motion and ask you to pass on, or if I see Steve, I'll mention it to him, but I think even though we have some issues out and about, I think it's appropriate to get a better understanding of the operations. Okay, fire chief report, are you giving that as well?
Yep, they had 2 fires that they responded to, both furnace related. And as far as equipment, everything is working well for right now. They just went through their CPR refresher with the ambulance for their monthly training. And I think that's
Okay. Police report.
Whatever you Dan gave you guys, I have no idea.
there's a copy in your packet.
Okay. Police, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything to add you want to do?
No, I heard you guys had some questions, so that's why I'm here.
Oh.
I have a question, actually.
Sure.
I've been watching the reports for the last couple of months, and I've seen a lot of calls, I've seen, but I really haven't seen much in the way of citations or arrests or things. I'm just seeing the number of people that have gone flying through town and other stuff, and I'm wondering why the disparity. Like, I don't know, is it just...
You talking just tickets?
Well, just tickets, or in terms of, like, I see a lot of calls here, but,
Calls range from a lot of things, from a domestic to drug call, to a traffic citation, to a medical, to, it could be one of a million things.
Because I looked at reports like a year ago or more, and there were definitely more things on this list in previous...
I think his software he's using for those are different now, and
Okay.
what's public knowledge and what's not public knowledge has definitely changed. And you take it up with the chief.
I'm curious, that was the question, because it looked like everything just dropped off all of a sudden, and now there's only this much all the time, and I was like,
Yeah,
it
you'd
seems a
have to
little
ask.
odd, you would think there would normally be crime, but I just wasn't sure what the reasoning was.
Well, you can think of it one way, a lack of crime, maybe we're doing something right.
Yeah.
Okay, are there other questions for this report? Is that it? Tower Economic Development Authority,
They still didn't meet, right?
they haven't met yet, no. Okay. And the Airport Commission report.
We did have a meeting, I put a copy of the agenda and one of the handouts that we had. And one of our biggest challenges right now is a building for our snow removal and lawn care equipment. And if you're looking at your map, there's a red rectangle over the top of a kind of a funny-shaped blue parcel. I think after talking with Dave, that was the proposed, or the preferred location of any building that we would make. We're kind of jockeying it around from pole barns to people that are willing to loan up space in their hangar, and I don't know, I think we've had about, 10 different arrangements now, Dave?
We've got quite a few.
And we've got, in the long term, we need to figure out something.
With utility A, B building, the green one, what does that represent?
That is the little log building.
Well, that's the one that's currently there?
Yeah, and there was some talk about.
But there's one closer to the going out. Looks like along that.
Oh,
This one here,
the green
the
one.
bigger one.
The green one is the electrical building, and you can see the log building is pictured under that one rectangle, which was a proposed location. There's also talk about co-locating that A and B building in that SRE building. So then you would only have the one building out there maintained. But that would take some initial investigation on what could be done with the log building, and what would be the return, or how that would work. It would be unfunded, so we'd have to try to make it work. We don't need much space, so what you're adding, the cost would be that bad. You could probably save in the long run with the efficiencies of one structure. But that's kind of what we're working on. We have to do something as far as the SRE part of it.
Okay, any further reports? Questions? Is there a motion to accept the reports from officers, engineers, commissions, and committees?
So moved.
Support?
Support it?
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we move to unfinished business. And 8.1, the data retention policy. I talked briefly with Linda before the meeting and asked her to report on what we have for data retention guidelines now. And it may be something that we'll want to go back and take a look at another time. Linda, do you want to report on data retention policy?
We have a data retention policy. We adopted the state's policy. It is 72 pages. It's pretty robust. I think it lists out just about everything that the city possibly could have. I know we have made a couple exceptions to it. One being it asks you to keep your general payable records for 6 to 7 years, and we go to 11 just to be safe. We found that has given us a little bit better access to records before we let them go. And I think if anything, we're probably a little bit more on the permanent side than we need to be. But here's a copy of the data retention policy that we practice. Yeah. Very, very good. It's kind of broken into some of the categories. Some of the stuff we've talked about, like payrolls forever, planning, zoning forever, agendas, audits.
Okay. Any questions or anything, any kind of approval necessary? Any other questions regarding the data retention policy? I think after perusing and reviewing, it's a high priority here, I think, but especially if you have a comprehensive plan like this, so we'll come back to it at a later time. Administrative guidelines. I noted to the clerk treasurer earlier in the week that on July 14, 2008, there was a motion made in council to have the agenda ready by noon on the Friday before a Monday council meeting. That was approved, so that is a standing policy. And my preference would be that we would have the agenda even before that, but I'm satisfied with before noon. You made it just before 3:30 this week, so. that
Yeah,
was
I had
good.
actually run out to an appointment and left it, and the last thing I did was hit send, and then when I got back, it was sitting there going around in circles, so. But it was posted on the door,
Mhm.
if you just
Okay.
stop by.
So that's a standing policy. Also, on the 11th of July 2005, there was a motion to have the minutes typed, posted, and on the city website within 48 hours. Again, I think that that's a very good idea. It's a good motion. It's been approved, so it's a standard policy.
That's a new erroneous motion, because you can't post minutes until they're approved.
But that was the rest of the comment that I made. That the second well, what this really is once the minutes have been approved, for example, tonight we approved minutes, and those minutes that we approved tonight need to be on the website within 48 hours.
That's fine.
Okay.
As long as it says approved, I'm sorry, I didn't agree to say that.
What you may have been thinking of is that I still want to, and I'm going to make a motion that the minutes from each of the meetings be prepared within 72 hours and made available to the council members. This is important, and in all of the other organizations that I've been involved in, it's been a standard practice to have the minutes completed as quickly as possible so that they can be reviewed by the council members in a timely manner when it's still fresh in their mind. And this also has the extra added benefit of having the minutes ready, or having the minutes, the proceedings in the meeting fresh in your mind when you do the minutes. And so I would like to see the minutes following each meeting be completed and made available to the council members 72 hours following the meeting.
I would think that'd be a week. There are times, and it'll happen right after the March meeting, I will be meeting the very next day, and will not have 72 hours to type minutes. And I'm not going to stay after the council meeting on Monday night for free to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I made a motion. Is there support? And then we'll have discussion. Okay. So the motion's been made and seconded, supported to have the minutes ready for the councilors within 72 hours after a meeting. Is there any discussion? You made your discussion.
Yes. I mean, and then there's other times where Terry is out. It's public utility time, Tuesday is also creation day around here, and it's just not. Tomorrow is a perfect example. We start the audit. My focus, I'm sorry to say, will not be on the minutes. And it probably won't be on Wednesday, and it probably won't be on Thursday. The audit is a game of survival for us. There are 3 of them, sometimes 4 of them, asking 1.85 of us questions. We do the best we can.
I'm always in favor of a good
But I
negotiation.
have a little more. I'm wondering, is it possible to amend the motion to, for those special circumstances that come up when 72 hours might not be feasible, that,
In March, you used to committee that they have the council.
So I just heard a week, and that's what I was going to open this up to. I think that's a good negotiation. We'll target 72 hours, but to have them out to the council members within a week, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, usually I'm not gone 2 weeks at one time, so it'll be the following Monday.
Okay.
I do get that, because I remember in the past, I remember you were approving these things, and I was subject to a problem one time because it didn't reflect the minutes of what was discussed, and so I get that, and I hand them off. Yeah. I even read these minutes today, and it's hard as I can. Give you a reasonable, I think a week is
Any
do
further-
with up to a week.
Sure. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
I
Opposed?
So your motion
I'm
on
saying
one,
aye. The motion,
is 1 week, you amended it?
yeah. We'll shoot for 72 hours for 1 week.
And then what did you say? Did you say May or what? I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said yay.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, my motion. Sorry.
Okay. The second motion that I'd like to make, and I talked about this briefly a few minutes ago, and that is on the city website. We don't have any control anywhere else, but on the city website, the video or the recording from that little camera up above here is showing up on the city website. Was that ever approved by the council?
I don't know, I have to look.
Okay. Then I would,
I know we talked about it at a meeting, I think they had issued their support, so I don't think it was.
well, I'll make a statement to both the council members here. I think he knows. Anyway, and all to those of you in the chamber that I think that if we're going to project our council meetings out to the public, that it needs to be done with quality equipment and we have quality product out there. I know I don't have a real projectable voice, but when I do run these meetings, I try to project better than I normally do. So that people in the meeting can hear what's going on, and I hope that everyone else does the same. To my knowledge, everyone has so far. And so my motion would be that we have our purchasing agent look into finding equipment that is appropriate for doing a quality recording job for the council meetings, and that those be posted. We have no control over those that do so on their own, but those we do not have to post on the city website. And as I said earlier too, this is just another editorial statement, but I looking out at YouTube. There's an awful lot of meetings or cities out there that actually do broadcast their city council meetings. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I'm all for transparency, so that's the reason for my motion. Is there support?
So the motion could be on a party break.
Okay, quick. The motion is that we ask Linda, the purchasing agent, to research good video equipment, and that we use our own equipment to videotape these proceedings for publication on the website.
What Linda is doing is just investigating to get prices, and then we would determine whether.
Yes. Is that a support?
I'll support that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. I'm a yea. So number 8.4 that we added earlier, the reorg, I think we added that. I'm not sure now. That was so long ago. But I don't think it's appropriate to go into that reorg given other proceedings that have gone on tonight. And so I will recommend that we line that out.
Okay.
Linda, you did receive one letter and that I gave you earlier tonight.
Oh yeah, that rescinded Steve Wilson's position on TW. He did not wish to be on TW.
So that was a misunderstanding, and he sent a letter of resignation before the first meeting. So there's an extra spot to fill. So there's 5 people on the PETA commission right now. I don't think there's anything that we need to approve. We've already approved the administrative guidelines. So moving on to new business. Lancia Enterprises. TITA billing pay estimate number 7.
There is a pay estimate prepared by SEH and myself for $240,350.
That's a motion.
Someone's gonna make it.
Move to pay.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a support? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 9.1A is lined out.
One question.
Sure.
Is it okay if any of us go home and then okay?
Just give me a call so I can call. Okay, I got the call.
I just curious if I could go see it sometime.
Yeah.
Just to see.
No, just give me a call and I'll
Okay.
check. With the amount of stuff and whatnot that's been happening at sites. Construction sites.
Okay. Number 9.2, Resolution 2019-003, resolution to support accelerating the 169 improvements. I don't think there's anyone that would say they wouldn't want to bump those ahead. And just over the weekend, when I saw the support and discussion about how bad the road is, and in fact experiencing it myself, I asked Linda to put this on the agenda so that we could approve a resolution. And my motion is this. I don't have a resolution, but I would like to instruct the city clerk treasurer to create a resolution to this effect that we would provide to the Department of Transportation.
I did ask Jason to do some bidding. I had heard some different reports. I had heard that one, it was slated for 2020 construction, and then I heard it was engineering in 2020. So I asked Jason to kind of get some more factual information. If it's a 2020 start, I mean, you can certainly pass a motion to go ahead to let them know that we want it, but I think if the money would be appropriated in this session and there isn't much more that you could do to speed it up, but, so I just, if you want to give Jason a chance to tell you what you found out.
Yeah, I would like that, and I suspect that that's exactly the case anyway, that, next year is 2020, so to bump it up to already this summer, I don't know that that's going to happen, but I think that given how important Highway 169 is to this town and businesses in this town, especially with the new park so close to the city limits, that we should throw in our support for it. So if you want to do that, and then...
I already did.
Yeah.
He's prepared right now.
Okay.
We did contact MnDOT, and they informed us that from Highway 53 to Black Bear is slated for mill and overlay in 2020. That's construction. So the council can choose whatever they want to do, but I think they've got the project set for 2019, and that section is slated for 2020. That's the information we got.
So the impression then, or that you're giving, is that there's not much we can do to speed up the process?
Every little bit helps. I'd be surprised, but I don't want to hold you back from doing something you feel may help move things along.
But then my resolution stands. Is there support? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? I'm for it, so... yeah. So, Linda, thank you for doing that. If you do a resolution or a letter to the Department of Transportation.
I usually really
saying
do
we
that
support.
before I send it, so I'll bring it back to the next meeting.
That's fine. That's fine. The legislature will still be in session, so I accept that. Okay, moving on to 9.3, TNT aggregates, estimate 3.
Yes, for the Lake Lane Cultural Center, we had the third pay estimate of $51,915.60. ARI has reviewed it, so has the Cultural Center Management Group and myself.
Okay. Motion to pay?
So moved.
Support?
I'll support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Nordic Group pay estimate number 1.
Yes, we received the first pay estimate. This is for the LCCMR number 1 project. This would be for the removal of the old 135 road bed that you kind of see down there by bench warmers, and I think they just got mobilized in, and that's about the extent of their work. And then Matt Wolf also did approve this case.
Motion to pay. Support,
Support.
discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ambulance department roster changes.
In January, we had one of our pay on call staffers decide to move out of the area, so we met with a candidate last Friday, and the committee would like to recommend that we hire her.
Sounds like she had a lot of experience.
And she did, and her background check was approved by Chief Nyland.
Okay, so that's a done deal.
No, I need a motion.
Okay, motion,
Motion to approve.
support.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If you don't hear me, it's yay. Yes. 9.7, accept Dave Virgo resignation.
Can you skip one there?
Oh, sorry. Civic Center interior light LED upgrade.
I'm not sure exactly how this got brought up, Dave, I don't know. But what we've been working with Bob Dale of Spark Busters, looking at the interior lighting in the Civic Center, the bulbs, can we even still get
Well, we
them?
got a lot of lights that go on and on
Yeah,
and
yeah,
on and
yeah,
off.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ballasts that need to be changed, and they just said it's cheaper to go right to the LEDs.
One done.
And then you're paying like way less in electric costs for those LEDs. And he said they'll pay them for themselves in no
Oh,
time.
yeah. So Bob's quote is for $2,342 to convert all the interior lights in the Civic Center portion only.
Just the civic center,
Doesn't
yeah,
include the fire
kitchen,
hall.
bathroom.
Okay, motion to accept.
This is coming out of the.
Yeah, where's the
Civic
coming out of?
This will come out of the Civic Center budget for the repairs.
Okay. Yeah, so moved.
Support.
Support.
Any discussion?
Question,
Nope.
are they gonna be like, what kind of brightness, so they're not so bright that they're gonna blind you when you're in there? I don't know if there's,
I don't know how many lumens they are.
you know, some of them, I was just.
I'm sure Bob Hill will be pretty
Then,
good about.
Bob, at least, to ask them why, because sometimes the white, it's so bright, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I've
I've been in places where they, just like, wow.
I will have him get back.
I'm just curious,
Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Number 9.7, accept Dave Virgo's resignation.
No.
Do we have a choice?
No.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
Support, you supported Brooke?
No.
Oh, I thought you made a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll support.
Oh, we have to accept it, so.
No.
I know.
You guys have been doing a great job. I don't recall if it was you or Tom, I stopped out by my house and I just have to say, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
ABC Eagle.
Okay, so any discussion? No. Okay, hearing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Silence. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So establish Dave Virgo's retirement medical pay.
I put a copy of the proposal in your packet. And then some historical data on the recent retirees. because of their request. Not that I have any power to approve it, but I would if I could. Only reason I wouldn't approve it is if it made a mistake, but so.
How was that paid out? I forget.
It would be paid quarterly to him.
Okay. And he can use that offset.
His medical, dental, premiums, or whatever else now.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept his retirement request.
Support?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 9.9, promote Tom Gorsma to maintenance working foreman.
The natural progression with Dave leaving would leave the maintenance working foreman position open. Previously, we promoted from within. Tom is interested in the position. It is posted within. Terry also could apply, but I don't believe she's interested.
You don't want to drive a snowball?
You actually, when did you actually put a posting up? I forget how it is. Or you just call and ask and
We just kind of did it informally since we have done it before. And I certainly don't want to.
and that's the youth, that's part of that comment.
So you could, you also, I suppose, could vote to not throw Tom and set a committee to look at that if you wanted, but those are kind of your options.
Okay, I haven't been in this position before, but this really follows union protocol. And I guess I would say, is there any reason why
About the former,
Yeah, what do you say?
I'd say he's well worth it. You know, he'll do a good job.
okay, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, support?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Sure. The question about that. If for some reason that we didn't want to promote him or some person, would have to be a really good reason for that?
You would have to, I would have to have some, you would have to have documented something.
Okay, I'm just curious, that's the procedure of it.
If at the end of his performance review, we had done a review, we did a review, like
Yeah.
on a particular person, if you had done mine, we found some largely unfavorable items.
Okay, then that would be a reason.
Yeah, then you would have the documentation
Okay.
as such.
And does that then go to the employee relations? Or
The review
or
or
the
the
review?
request to promote.
No, we're just talking about,
Okay, so we have already passed it, that's unanimous. So 9.10, establish maintenance worker committee.
For the last reviews.
No, for the last meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I can vote.
It was me and you and Brad, I think.
Okay.
I might just mention that Randy Johnson indicated that he would be interested in being part of that interview committee. He's got 18
I
years of
think
experience. for the-
Tom and I both would too.
I don't know how many, I don't really want that many people.
But I'm just throwing it out there,
Tom and
that-
Dave, Tom especially, because he's gonna have to work with the person
Right.
and work very closely. Tom's gonna
Tom
know,
definitely be good.
he will have to
Dave
know.
or Randy, one of them, you wanted to do that again, Dave? Yeah.
Interview?
Yeah.
I would-
Are you
I
able
would-
to do that?
I would-
I heard something about 30 days. Is there a 30-day moratorium period or something?
Not for that.
Okay. It was for something else?
Yeah, it's related to the public retirement.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so for the motion, I mentioned Randy Johnson, and he said definitely bring up his name. But the recommendation, does someone want to make a motion for who this interview committee will be?
I'll make the recommendation if somebody wants to support it, but I think the committee should be Dave, Tom, myself, and Kevin, and who, I believe Rachel, you're on the, yeah, two council, three staff.
I'd be kind of supporting that.
You're supporting?
Well, I would support that. Like,
Making that motion.
yes.
Okay, so the motion is made. Is there support? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Okay, passed unanimously. Number 10, presentation of claims.
so that'd be a motion to pay bills. So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. Discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 8:21.